Hello everyone, my name is Charlie, and I want to tell you about my best friend. You could think that it's a usual school story about best buddies, but you would be wrong. Thing is, I made friends with a homeless man, and we managed to help each other a lot. Listen to my unbelievable story. That day was horrible, as any other school day when I had physics. I hated physics, on 2 reasons. First one was that I didn't understand it at all. It is the only subject that makes me totally clueless. The second reason is connected to the first one. My dad is a physicist, and he thinks a son who doesn't have straight A's in physics is a shame to him as a parent, as a scientist, and generally as a human being. I've tried everything to explain to him that it's not my thing. I even tried taking private physics classes. Nothing helped. That day was the last drop. I brought a D in physics again back from school, and was ready for another boring discussion on priorities with my dad. But things went awfully wrong. That time he literally fell hysteric yelling, "I don't need a son that stupid! I don't have a son anymore!" Well, that was overreacting. To be honest, I got really very offended. So I packed my things for a couple of overnights and went away from home. It seemed like a nice idea to me. I went to spend a couple nights simply in the street. Nights were warm, and my parents would quickly find me if I went to my friends. By the time I turned back, my dad would have become adequate again. I left my phone at home, of course. It didn't go as well as I imagined. It was already evening, and I was walking around the streets looking for a place to sleep. It was not easy. After all, I went after Old Classics, which was under the bridge. When I saw that there was already a group of ominous-looking homeless, I understood that my enthusiasm had already gone. I started seriously considering returning home, when an elderly man came up to me and asked, "Welcome, son. Are you looking for an overnight?" He was smiling in a nice way, and seemed quite okay. Clean face, old but neat clothes. I decided to remain for a while and join him near the fire. He was evidently curious, and asked me how come I was spending the night all alone, away from my parents. I felt my story was utterly stupid, but I spat it out at once. That man was pretty amused. "So you have problems with physics, eh? What's the topic you got a D for? Newton's second law? But why? Isn't it simple?" he answered. And then something magically happened. He started explaining it to me. And at some point, I suddenly found out that it wasn't that hard after all. Wait. How come you know physics that well? And if you do, why are you here?" Turned out my friend's new name was Bob. He was a retired physics teacher, and moved here from another state. He used all of his savings to buy a house, but it was a fraud, and he had nowhere to leave and no family to turn back to. He wanted to get a job, but couldn't, because he was homeless. After all, he stuck to a group of homeless but remained positive. His story was so inspiring. To be honest, I felt like an idiot. "Look," I said, "I need to go home. I've made a mistake and now it's late already." Bob said it was a wise decision and that he would accompany me. As we were coming home, I was thinking how to ask Bob to give me some physics lessons. This would be a job for him and a relief for me. But I forgot it all at once when I opened the door and I saw Mom crying and hugging me, and my dad embarrassed in the background. Hugs finished, I noticed Bob was silently going away. Wait! I shouted. I made him enter our house, explained to my parents who Bob was, and made him a cup of coffee. The least I could do. My dad seemed genuinely interested and started a conversation about physics. And Mom was just thankful I got back home safe and sound. So this is how that day finished. And this is how I met my best friend Bob. "So that's it?" you would ask. "You said you helped each other. And now it seems that it's only him who has helped you." There's a good end to that story. My dad liked Bob a lot, and he proposed a solution. At his office, they needed a lab technician, so he offered the position to Bob. Thus, he could rent an apartment. At the same time, I asked Bob to give me private lessons of physics, and improved both my marks and my relationship with my dad. My life and Bob's life both would have been much worse if we hadn't met. And I'm proud to say that Bob, an elderly ex-homeless, is my best friend. And I hope that I am his as well.